Hello and welcome to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. On today's show, we'll be sharing the story of the retirement of Ashland's Police Chief Craig Davis. We'll also be speaking with Bob Savin of Fitness Together and a fundraiser that he is participating in for local veteran families. Of course, we'll have our Selectmen's update for the meeting that happened on March 20th and our ever-popular Around the Town tour. So stay with us as I bring you Around the Clock.
Now therefore, we, the Selectmen of the Town of Ashland, do hereby proclaim Friday, March 22nd, 2019 as Craig Davis Day. He will have to work that day. We urge all residents to make known their appreciation for his devotion to the Town of Ashland. We wish him good health and good fortune. Signed, Robert Chair, behalf of the Ashland Select Board. Congratulations.
Our top story on Around the Clock today is the retirement of Ashland Police Chief Craig Davis. He's been the chief for about 5.5 years. He came in when there was some turmoil in the department, and he brought some calmness and some structure to some of the issues that were going on. The Board of Selectmen gave a proclamation to Chief Davis at their meeting on March 20th. At that time, we were able to ask him what were some of his greatest accomplishments while in Ashland. And here's what he told us.
Probably the greatest accomplishment that I can claim or achieved, I guess, is the people that I have either brought on or the people that we have instilled a level of competency through training and through different assignments. So that's my greatest source of pride, is the investment in the personnel in the department, and I certainly couldn't have done that without your support, without the community's support. So I would say, aside from the brick and mortar projects like opening the substation or new equipment or new radio facilities or new computer facilities, it's the people in the department that make the department. And there are some fantastic people there. And there's some fantastic people that have just recently been hired by the department. There's some fantastic people that have already been at the department that just needed an opportunity to grow and develop. So when I look at my greatest achievements, it isn't things that you can plug in. It's not things that we can stack against the wall. It's the men and women of the police department. And they do a fantastic job day in and day out. And they're a very dedicated, caring, professional group. And I think it's important for the community to know that. Well, I'm very grateful that the town has agreed to support a public safety facility. I would like to have seen that in my tenure. I'll never move into my new office. So you've seen my office, so it's a little broom closet. So I regret not being part of a new facility and being able to walk in with the men and women of the department wide-eyed and seeing that gleaming new facility. But I know that's on the horizon for them and for the community, and I'm grateful for the support of the community for supporting that initiative. So that is one of the things that I regret that I will not be able to live through or see through, I should say. I hope I'm still. Although I don't know how long this is going to take.
We want to thank Chief Davis for his years of service. He was very proud of the fact that we are going to be moving forward with a public service building, a public safety building, and we hope to invite him back as we are able to open the doors for that. While we are not hiring a permanent chief right away, the interim chief will be Vin Alfano. He is the retired chief from Bolton, so we look forward to him coming on as of Saturday, March 23rd. Now time for the Selectmen update for the meeting that happened on March 20th. We started our meeting at 7 p.m. with a proclamation being read for outgoing Police Chief Craig Davis. We also approved the annual Marathon Day request for TJ's, so if you'd like to get there nice and early and celebrate Marathon on April 15th at TJ's, make sure you get your tickets and get out there. We also then heard from Beth Reynolds with an update on the plans for the corner spot for the season of 2019. Some great things are going to be happening. If you would like to do a pop-up business for a day or two, make sure you reach out to Beth and members of her committee to see if that can happen. Then we heard from Matt Marchquest, the chair or co-chair of our Sustainability Committee, say that 5 times fast. He was talking to us about net zero resolution. We have decided not to put this on the Springtown meeting, but we are asking the Sustainability Committee to do a little more education, start working on a potential plan for spring of 2020, and we look forward to bringing the resolution forward in the fall town meeting. We then added a new section in regards to town manager priority projects. Back about 2 months ago, the Selectmen met with town manager Michael Herbert to talk about some of our priorities and what we would like to be his priorities moving forward for this next year. So we talked about the Rail Transit District. The YMCA is moving forward. The purchase has happened. The donation has happened from Bob Gaynor to the YMCA, and they are now putting a project plan together to get that project moving forward. We heard about the public safety building, how the project managers have been hired as well as the architect, and that will be Vertex and HKT. We then talked a little bit about some downtown improvements in regards to utility work and the Riverwalk and how all of that ties together with downtown. There have been some slight improvements or changes made to the plans to do a better bike path along this Main Street between Front and Homer. We then talked about the townwide strategic plan that is under the direction of the town manager, and he hopes to have something wrapped up by the fall. Then we talked about the Warren District and some of the work that's being done there to look at the barn and what's the best way to get it on the National Historic Registry. We had our consent agenda with a couple of items. We then discussed and set the rates for the Stormwater Enterprise Fund. We gave the direction to the Public Works Department as to what that should be. It will be $35 per year for residential properties, and then 80 cents per 100 square feet. And the details will be out shortly, or you can watch the Selectmen meeting to find out the final plans that were made. We voted to endorse the fiscal year 20 budget. Again, if you want all the details, you can either watch the meeting or go online, and the draft budget is there. We had a discussion regarding the Cultural Council. We reduced their membership from 12 to 7 so that they could have a quorum and get some work done. We took our first look at the 2019 annual town meeting warrant. Town meeting will be happening on May 1st. We will be finalizing the warrant at our meeting the first week in April. Again, there are drafts online if you're interested in seeing what we're talking about for May. We had an update on a potential development on Route 126. This is over at the old Fusion Restaurant. Developer is looking at that property. And as selectmen, we are going to be starting our first liaison, our development liaison committee that we voted in back a couple months ago. We discussed some new international building codes and what we as Ashland can do to support them and help our own building codes moving forward. We had a recap of our volunteer breakfast, thanks to all the volunteers that came out and to all the volunteers who helped make Ashland great. We then discussed the Eversource transmission line update. Not too many updates at this point. We are still working in our intervenor status to work with Eversource on the pipeline. We talked about the dementia-friendly kickoff that happened last week. Thank you to Steve Mitchell and all the others who worked to make that project happen. Dementia-friendly community means that we work with restaurants and other organizations and businesses in town to make it easier for people who might have slight dementia or even more dementia to go out and still be productive in our community. We then had our town manager update, snow and ice budget. You would think it wouldn't be too bad, but we are about $270,000 in the hole. Even though we haven't had that many storms, we've had some really big ones that have been overnight. So our contractor line to get our roads cleared has been quite heavy. We had an update on the MBTA meeting. They're looking to do a third track from Framingham to 128. We might not be impacted completely, but there could be an impact. It then also led to a discussion about our train station and some of the issues that we are seeing there. We had an update on the town planner position. Sheila Page, who was our town planner, left us back in December. We do have an assistant town planner, but we're still trying to hire a new town planner. Right now, a lot of town planners have retired in various communities, and it's hard to find someone who is willing to do that. We then talked about our MWRA connection. That is moving forward as well. If you'd like any more detail about any of these items, you can either watch the full meeting, which is already online, or reach out to either the town manager's office or any of the selectmen. That was the meeting that happened on March 20th. Thanks for watching this Selectmen's Update. Hello, welcome to Around the Clock. I'm your host, Yolanda Greaves. We are speaking today with Bob Savin. Bob, welcome back to Around the Clock.
Thank you.
We've spoken with Bob before. He's the owner of Fitness Together with locations in Ashland and Southborough. But we're here today to talk about a fundraiser that you're doing. What's the fundraiser called?
The fundraiser is called Tough Ruck. It takes place in Concord, Massachusetts on April 14th this year.
And what does Tough Ruck, what is that?
It's an event that features military and civilians who will ruck or hike 26.2 miles on this course, really in honor of fallen service members, as well as police, fire, and EMT.
So Tough Ruck, a ruck is a backpack of sorts?
Yes, yes, and I brought one along with me today. It's on the back of the chair here.
Okay.
You can carry any style of backpack. But part of the event is that there are two divisions. There's a lightweight and a heavyweight division. Mm-hmm. So you can carry anywhere from 15 to 35 plus pounds. But the packs are weighed before and after the event, and that's part of the completion.
So your water that you're drinking can't be part of your weight because that would go away.
Exactly, exactly. So you got to find other things to fill it with. Food, bricks, anything that kind of weighs you down.
Okay. So what made you decide to do this, Bob?
For me, it was an involvement that we have with military throughout the year. We've done numerous charity events at Fitness Together, but also what was important to me was some of the people I've met at these events, other Marines, other military personnel who encouraged me to get involved instead of just as a volunteer basis, because this was an event where civilians could take place. Mm-hmm. It gave me an opportunity to walk alongside them. But also, just on a personal level, there were some people that I wanted to honor. Part of doing this event is that on our packs we will carry the names of fallen soldiers, and I do have some people that were either close to me or close to other people that I know that are not going to be available to ruck that day, mm-hmm. And they've asked me to carry those names as well.
So where does this event take place?
It's in Concord, Mass, and it's taking place the day before the marathon. So there's also the reenactment going on at that time as well. So we'll be kind of walking right alongside the reenactment and possibly even passing through some of the events taking place that day.
So what's the history of the Tough Ruck? Why are they doing this? Why is it a marathon length rather than something else?
Members of the military have always taken part in the Boston Marathon. Mm-hmm. And specifically in 2013, when the unfortunate events took place of the bombing, there were military members on the course that day. They were taking part in the Tough Ruck, and at the finish line, when the bombs went off, they jumped into action, and they mm-hmm. were some of the first responders applying tourniquets there to support people that needed help. But unfortunately, the following year, the BAA had all backpacks removed, right. And the military members felt like they wanted to do their own thing at that point, because part of the event for them was carrying the weight of their fallen comrades. Mm-hmm. So not being able to carry the ruck, they moved on and created this event, and it's grown every year since.
Now, we have some footage of a gentleman named Joe Girard.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about Joe?
He is part of the Tough Ruck organization, and he's one of the organizers. And part of his role is to, like I said, get word out about Tough Ruck and let other people know, what it's about. We've also done some work on our own. We were out in Ashland yesterday at the Ale House, and promoting this as well, because I think that the most important thing that we all want to do is spread the word that there are military families in need. The organization Military Friends Foundation is collecting the donations for this event, and they spread those donations through military families that do need it. But that's part of his role as well, is to spread the word.
And what have you been doing to train for this?
Well,
you're in fitness, so you're fairly fit, but I'm sure
yeah, we
26.2 mile hike with a backpack or with a ruck is a little different.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different than just being in the gym and just straight lifting weights. But one of the things that we've had to learn is, like you said, how to carry that weight, how to carry 15 plus pounds in a pack while you're doing movement,
right.
Because that weight does shift and does change. So it does put some demands, different demands on your legs, on your core. So I've had to learn that. That's been a little bit different for me. How to manage the stress on the knees, on the hips, on the feet. So I've had to learn all those things, but most importantly, it's just been getting out on the course, out in Concord, locally in Milford and Holliston on the rail trail. And so we've been out there as a group. There's a team that I'm hiking with.
Oh, nice.
And as often as we can get out, we just keep increasing our distance every week, and hopefully we'll be ready.
And what's your goal? What's your fundraising goal?
Each individual participant has a different fundraising goal based on their initial commitment to the organization. Personally, my commitment was $1,000, and so we've been working towards organizing that. But as a team, so our team has at least a goal of $950 to $1,000 each,
Nice.
and we've been organizing those funds through CrowdRise to generate that for the whole team.
So if people are watching this and are interested in fundraising or adding to your donations, how can they do that?
We'll provide a link.
Okay.
It is on CrowdRise. Our team name is Boston Veterans United, and they can make a donation to any member of our team. And then for more information, they can also go to the Tough Ruck website.
Do you want to show us your pack? And I
Sure.
know that the names of some of the people that you're rucking for are on there.
Yeah, so this is the pack that I'll carry on the day of the event. Currently, I think I have about 7 or 8 names on here. These again are names of fallen heroes. They represent people in my life. I have a friend who lost two service members, and he asked me to carry their names. My cousin was married to a Marine, and he unfortunately took his own life. So I have his name on my pack. And then there are also 3 names on here that I wear a bracelet that there were 3 service members that were killed in action in one of the early battles of the war, and they were close to my wife's cousin. So I carry their names as well.
So this is very personal for you.
It is, and it's personal on that level, but even more so, obviously, to the people that really knew these men that were lost. And again, what I'm hoping to do at the event itself, there are thousands of other ribbons that will be available for any of the participants to carry. So I'll probably collect a few more ribbons that just need a home. But there'll also be an opportunity. And I've met with some people locally here in Ashland who have some people that they'd like to honor, and I'll be carrying their names as well.
Wow, it's such a great cause, and I find as I do all these stories about fundraising and how people are helping is that we have a very charitable community, so hopefully we can get some more people to donate. Is it still possible if someone sees this story and is just so moved that they want to participate, is it still possible to get a number, do you know?
I'm not sure. There's only 1,000 spots for the whole event, and I know they were getting very close to closing that out. But what people can do if they want to be involved is come out to Concord on the day of the event, Sunday, April 14th. The ruck itself starts at 7 a.m. but I believe there's a festival that takes place from 1 until 5 p.m., and that's the time when you'll start to see people finishing. So there'll be all kinds of events going on there throughout the day. As a participant, we can all use the support, so it'd be great to see people out there cheering, much like they do at the marathon. And there'll be food and beverages there, and I think it should be a really fun atmosphere for the day.
And the reenactment is going on as well, so if
That
you're
too.
interested in history, you can sort of tie the two of them together. How long do you think it's going to take you to, because it's basically, you're walking, it's not like running the 26.2 miles,
Right.
which we know people can do it anywhere from 2 to 5 hours. How long do you think this is going to take you?
We're hoping to certainly finish under 8 hours. Our goal is to kind of pace ourselves to about 6.5 to 7.5 hours. And this way that gives us some time if we need to stop or anybody. We'd like to finish together as a team.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that everybody's able to do that, and if we have to allow for some people to take their time, but we should get it done under 8 hours.
Now, what I found interesting was when I went and looked at the walk and the hike, and so for military, they're hiking or rucking in their uniforms and their boots. Do you have to do the same, or as a civilian, do you get to pick what you're going to wear?
I can pick what I want to wear. I did buy a pair of hiking boots for the occasion, but no, I can go in whatever clothing is comfortable. There's no regulation there. I did buy an official ruck so that I could somewhat fit in, but other than that, no. There's no, for civilians. There's no dress code.
Yeah, good. Well, anything else you'd like to tell us about this event, Bob?
I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be my first time participating in the event. Just everything I've seen and heard about it from people that have participated in the past, the videos I've seen, it just looks like an amazing day, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and in the research that I did was the fact that this is for the Military Friends Foundation to help families of military families who we all know have a lot of issues and just need that extra help that they're not always getting. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
You for telling us about it and sharing your story. And we look forward to hearing how it went after you've done it. And if you'd like to participate or volunteer or donate to Bob's, the information is below. And thanks for watching this segment of Around the Clock. Welcome back to Around the Clock. It's time for our Around the Town tour. We have various stops for this one. We're going to be starting at the Ashland High School, where a courageous conversation happened, where it was conversation versus confrontation. It was led by Jamal, who is a slam poetry artist, who came and read some poetry, but also then led us in some discussion about how we can understand each other better and also deal with confrontation and have a better conversation about it. Let's take a listen to one of his poems.
In dark and quiet spaces. Joy, you say it. Joy. Like Paul Olive and Dumb. Joy, like To the World in that holiday song. Joy, like God's tongues, palms, and psalms. Things that bring me joy. Joy like joyous and overjoyed. People being employed. No soldiers deployed. Race as one convoy. Joy. Joy is the genius of life. Joy is the genius of life. For that of life which is freedom. Again, joy is the genius of life. For that of life which is freedom. Get you some. Get you some. Get you some. Joy. Go for it, y'all.
I was fortunate to be able to go to this event. It was a great opportunity to connect with people of different backgrounds as well as different ages. A big congratulations to the students who helped organize this, and of course the whole group, including Betsy Emberly and her event committee, for organizing. It was another one of those great events. If you're ever interested, make sure you look out for these and participate in the future. From the high school, we're going to go to the Ashland Public Library, where we had the Be the Change Forum. This is being run by the Ashland Friends of the Public Library, as well as a committee of women who are trying to encourage and get more people to run. I was able to be one of the candidates for this informational panel, where we talked about why people run for office and trying to encourage people to take that step. It's one of those things where sometimes people think it's a lot more than it might be. So hopefully, if you didn't get to go to the forum, you can go ahead and check it out. But let's go take a listen to some of the things that were said.
We work together with other folks in town to make sure that all of our values are represented and that Ashland is a wonderful, welcoming community for all. We do things like make sure at our meetings that we collect for the food pantry. We have also participated in the wonderful Green Up Ashland event and civic events like that. And despite what a lot of people think, and my colleague from the Republican Town Committee here, I hope, can attest to this as well, we reach across the aisle and work with each other on important issues in town as well. One particular incident comes to mind when we stood together as a town, Republicans, Democrats, town officials, citizens, after the events in Charlottesville, to say and to definitively say that our community is an open, welcoming, and loving community. And that's why I'm involved, and that's why I encourage everyone to get involved. Running for office might seem really intimidating and really tough, but I gotta tell you something. It's one of the best ways to really invest in your community and really be part of the community. So don't be shy, jump in with both feet, and thank you very much for your time.
Again, a big thank you to the Friends of the Ashland Public Library and the Public Library, and of course WACA-TV for getting this out there via live stream and allowing us to share it with you after the event. From the Ashland Public Library, we're going to go all the way across town to the Ashland Community Center or Senior Center. Depending on your age determines what you call it. Ashland is now dementia friendly. It is a program to help people with the beginnings of dementia and full dementia to become more comfortable and be more participating in our community. A big shout out to Steve Mitchell, a member of the Board of Selectmen, as well as Kim Katob, Joanne Duffy, and all the other members up at the community center, as well as the staff here in Ashland for encouraging this program and creating it. And if you'd like to have more information, you can go online and see more about the dementia-friendly program. Let's go take a look at some of the words that were said about it.
On this slide, it takes a village. It absolutely takes a village. For one person to be cared for living with dementia, it takes a village. And it was really, how do you do that? How do you take a whole town and a whole community and make it dementia-friendly? Well, they have a good way to do it. So Christine led the way, and the team did it for the 3 towns, and it is rapidly growing throughout the United States and other countries as well.
Again, thanks for all those who helped organize that and who are helping Ashland become more dementia friendly. We are now going to go back to the high school for the Student Council rally that happened on March 15th. You think March 15th, a bit of a random day to have a rally, but this was done in support of and in celebration of the winter sports that were wrapping up, as well as some of the celebration of some of the groups that are doing some great things at our Ashland High School. We got to see our Ashland clock, our mascot, in action out there on the basketball courts, and we also saw the various classes in their class colors celebrating all that is wonderful about our Ashland High School.
Play catch almost. It's really heavy.
This one didn't come as round as I like it to be, but it still tastes the same.
Dough in the pan.
We have one more stop on our Around the Town tour. We're going back to the community center, this time for the Baking Bread Together. A couple of weeks ago, there was the Ashland is United event called Tasting Bread Together. This was an opportunity for people to learn how to bake 3 different kinds of bread. There was some baking going on and some tasting going on, and I've seen some follow-up where people have been actually taking the recipes and making the
Here's where it
bread.
gets fun, and where I took my rings off, because soon I will have to use my hands. For the first step, I don't know if anyone can see, you're just stirring. You could do it in a mixer. We're gonna see that for the pita bread. I'm sure that would work. This is my grandmother's bowl. She didn't have a mixer. I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned. That's part of, for me, the meaning of making it is that Jews have been making challah, probably not for 3,000 years, but for a really, really, really long time. Probably for close to 2,000 years.
Pita bread, bread in general in the Middle East has been around for thousands of years. Egyptian times, Phoenician times, and it's probably served with just about every meal. A lot of it is basically because of scarcity sometimes. It's a filler. They serve it, there's not a lot of meat, there's not a lot of protein and things like that so basically a lot of people eat the bread, so basically that's a daily staple.
So in my house, we just call it plain Irish bread. That's what we always call it. Everybody calls it Irish soda bread. And I think we have a lot of similarities you'll see with all the 3 different breads, especially with the white bread. What I'm going to talk about is the way that we make the Irish bread is, it's a white bread. It's a heavy bread. We don't use any yeast in making this because it's faster, easier, and this is very cheap to make. This is when white flour was very cheap for people in Ireland, where it's a lot of poverty years ago, and they could make a sweet and savory bread that could be used in all meals. And
check it out. If you have interest in any of the recipes and you weren't able to attend, you can reach out to Ashland is United to get some of those recipes. Well, that wraps up our Around the Town tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to sharing more.
And that's lucky too. Now as the ladder of life has been strong, your nightingale sweeps on the bottom of strong. Though I spent me time in the ashes and smoke, in this whole wide world there's no IP alone. Ching chimney, ching chimney, ching ching chimney. When you are with the sweep, you're in glad company.
Here at WACA-TV and Around the Clock, we always love to share all the arts and events that are going on in Ashland. We have had a busy couple of weeks with the students and the musicians up at our high school and our middle school. We go from our Ashland High School vocal solo night that happened, as well as the Ashland High School and Ashland Middle School Band and Wind Ensemble, and then of course our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade bands, and then a culmination with the Ashland High School Choral Concert. All of these events happen at our high school because it has a better stage, better acoustics, and of course a larger auditorium than our middle school to be able to share these events with all our family and friends. If you didn't get to see any of these concerts, but you'd like to see the whole concert and go see and see what our students are working on and what our musicians are working toward, you can go to our WACA website and go to either Vimeo or YouTube and watch the full concerts. A big congratulations to all of our student musicians who get out there, perform, and really give it their all. We have one more arts update for you. This is regarding Boston Ballet. We always like to share what they are doing. They are currently performing and continuing with their spring season with George Balanchine's Coppelia. It is a full-length comedy story ballet about love, mistaken identity, and foolhardy fun. Coppelia is set in a country village. It is the story of love between Swanhilda and Franz, and how mistaken identity between a life-size doll can add to some mystery and mischief along the way. It's a great ballet. It's one of those ballets that is just a fun, enjoyable story that you can go and enjoy, and Boston Ballet always does a wonderful job. You can go see in this performance of Coppelia from March 21st to the 31st at the Boston Opera House. If you go, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching this episode of Around the Clock. A big thank you to Bob Savin for coming in and speaking with us about his fundraiser, The Tough Ruck, for military families. Our best wishes to Chief Craig Davis. We thank him for being part of Ashland and wish him well in his new career. If you ever have a story for Around the Clock, make sure you reach out to us here at Around the Clock or WACA-TV, and we'll be sure to share your story. Thanks for watching this episode of Around the Clock.